Giuseppe CrimiVaroli. To celebrate the summer, we're going to show you how to make 2 fruity desserts. First up, we've got the ingredients for the Prosecco soaked grapes. So, you're going to need some green grapes, 1 bag of them. You're going to need a bottle of Prosecco, and you're going to need some sugar. Now, in terms of hardware, you're only going to need 3 things. You're going to need a large bowl to soak your grapes in. You're going to need a shallow bowl to roll your grapes in. And you're going to need a refrigerator. Step number 1, as always, is going to be wash your hands and your grapes. So, go ahead, run some water, stick your hands in grapes underneath there. Make sure to get your grapes all nice and moist. Open the bag up, get some water inside of it. Then you can shake your grapes out and set them on the counter to sit while you wash your hands. So stick your hands underneath, get them nice and moist. Once your hands are all wet, you can go ahead, add some soap. 2 squirts is my preference. Rub that soap all around your hands, get in between the fingers, get on the back of the knuckles. Once your hands are nice and soapy, stick them back under the water and wash all that soap off. Once you're convinced your hands are sufficiently clean, you can turn the water off, grab a towel, dry your hands, and we're ready to cook. Moving on to step number 2. And step number 2 is going to be soak your grapes. Now, your grapes need to soak for 8 hours or overnight. So it's smart to do this in advance before you want to eat the grapes. So go ahead and take your grapes, add them to your large bowl. Once your grapes are in there, you want to soak them in the Prosecco. So go ahead and open your Prosecco. Right, anyway. And add your Prosecco to your grapes. Once your grapes and Prosecco are in your bowl, you want to push the grapes as low as you can so that they're under the level of Prosecco. Once all your grapes and Prosecco are in your bowl and they're all covered, you can stick it in the fridge to chill for 8 hours or overnight. While your grapes are chilling, you can move on to the chocolate-covered berries. Now, for the chocolate-covered berries, the only ingredients you're going to need are your various chocolates and your various berries. Now, in terms of hardware, you're going to need the following. You're going to need some wax paper. You're going to need a spoon. You're going to need some toothpicks, only if you're making chocolate-covered blueberries. You're going to need 2 glass measuring cups or bowls, but I highly recommend that they be glass. And you're going to need a microwave. Moving on to step number 1. And step number 1, as always, is going to be wash your hands and rinse your berries. So go ahead, get your berries, open them up, and then run some cool water over them. And once your berries are all rinsed, stick your hands into the water, get them nice and wet. Once your hands are all moist, you're going to add some soap. 2 squirts is my preference. Then rub that soap all around, get it on the back of the hands, get it in between the knuckles, get on the back of the knuckles, get under the fingernails. Don't forget the thumb, that's an important part. Go all the way down to the wrist if you want. Then stick your hands back under the water and wash all that soap off. Once you convince your hands are sufficiently clean, you can turn the water off, grab yourself a towel,
That was a bad throw.
And then dry your hands off. Moving on to step number 2. And step number 2 is going to be prep your station. Now, before we go ahead and melt our chocolate, we're going to want to put some wax paper on the counter so that when we dip our berries, we have a place to put them so that they can cool. So go ahead, get some wax paper, get a nice long strip of it, rip it off, and lay it out on the counter. Now before you melt your chocolate, if you're using blueberries, now is the time to put them on your toothpicks. So, if you're using blueberries only, get your toothpicks out and stick 3 blueberries on each toothpick. Just like that. Now it's time for step number 3. And step number 3 is going to be melt your chocolate. Now, I have dark chocolate, white chocolate, and milk chocolate here. But you don't need all that. I would start with just either dark or milk chocolate. Open your chocolate and add about 2/3 to 1 cup of it into your measuring cup or bowl. Once you have your chocolate in your measuring cup or bowl, you can stick it in the microwave and cook it for 1 minute at half power and then 30-second increments at half power. Watch me do it now. Now, not all microwaves are the same. That's why you do 30-second increments so you don't overcook your chocolate. Now, after a minute, open your microwave. Have a look at your chocolate. It's not looking too melty yet, so we're going to go ahead and start putting it in for those 30-second increments. Now, the chocolate is starting to get melty, so use your spoon to stir it up and then put it back in until there are no more clumps. It's been another 30 seconds. Let's check on our chocolate. Looks like it's all melted. Use your spoon to stir it up. It's looking good, so it's time to dip some berries. Now, for the dark or milk chocolate, I recommend dipping the raspberries and the strawberries. So go ahead, grab yourself a big old strawberry, stick it in the chocolate, twirl it around, and once you're set, you can put it on your wax paper to cool. Do that for all of your strawberries. As for the raspberries, all you're going to do is grab your raspberry and dip the open part of it into the chocolate, like so. Then you can take that and just place it on the sheet, like that. The blueberries can go in both the dark and white chocolate, so go ahead, grab your blueberries and stick them in the white chocolate. Then you can just put them on your wax paper. If you end up having leftover white chocolate, you can hit your strawberries with a white chocolate drizzle as well. Once you have all of your berries covered in chocolate, you're going to let them sit on the wax paper for 20 to 30 minutes or until the chocolate hardens. It's time for the final step, which is going to be plating. Now, all you have to do is peel your berries off of your wax paper and elegantly display them on a platter or plate. Always good to start with the strawberries. Once you're all set, you'll have a beautiful chocolate-covered fruit platter. Now it's time for a little taste test. That was delicious! Alright folks, so it's been about 8 hours. It's time to take those grapes out of the fridge and move on to the next step. Now, you may notice when you take the grapes out of the fridge that there is a lot less Prosecco in the bowl than when you put them in there. That's fantastic! That means the grapes have sucked up all of that Prosecco. So, we're ready to move on to the next step. Moving on to the final step, and the final step is going to be plating. What do I mean by that? It's simple. we're going to take our Prosecco soaked grapes, roll them in sugar, and put them in the final plate. So, fill this middle bowl here with some sugar. Take out some of your grapes. And roll them in the sugar. Once they're rolled in sugar, you can put them in the final bowl. Do that for all of your grapes. Now, at the very end, if you have some extra sugar, you're welcome to sprinkle that on the top. And if you have some extra Prosecco, you're welcome to drink that. Delicious. And just like that, you're ready to enjoy your Prosecco soaked grapes. Now it's time for a little taste test. Wow! That is like a flavor bomb in my mouth. That's crazy. And it's delicious. That concludes this week's fruity episode of Cooking Corner with me, Giuseppe CrimiVaroli. I hope you enjoyed these 2 desserts because I certainly know I did. If you like this video, leave a like below. If there's something you want to see on the channel, leave it in the comments and I'll try to make it for you. If you like videos like this, subscribe to my channel. I'm putting out new content all the time. Enjoy those desserts and bye-bye now.